Today we're talking to St Albans City manager Ian Allinson at Clarence Park. We have a second week running. The Saints have taken a 1-0 lead but gone down to a 2-1 defeat, this time against promotion chasing Dartford. I thought, Ian, overall it's one of the most entertaining games we've had down here for a while, but quite controversial as well. We took the lead with a penalty of a handball. They got level with a penalty as well, whether it was or wasn't. I think you have your comment in a minute. And we had two appeals later on that got turned down. We'll start with the one we got, the handball. Get a clear view of it?
Again, it's one of them that the referee's probably seen. I couldn't see whether it was handball. I appealed for it because obviously he's tried to pull it back in, but you see them given and you see them not given. I think that made the decision. The decision he gave there made his decision for the rest of the game for me. Because you've showed me their penalty, which clearly isn't a penalty, and then you looked at the Sam Merson one and the Joe Trifano one, and for me Sam's a penalty, Joe's not a penalty, but I think the whole of the referee's performance is guided by the first penalty, and he's given them one early in the second half to level it up, and then he weren't going to give another one after that, so a bit disappointing, but I think you say it was an entertaining game. I felt that was our best performance for a long period, even though with the wins at Bath and at Havant and places like that, I felt we caused them some problems. We looked bright, but we just switched off again on two set pieces, which is so disappointing for getting in front and just really then just trying to nullify the game. And they were decent. They gave us a lot of problems first half hour. We've had to dig deep in terms of the defensive side of it, but we've also created some chances ourselves. But just just probably more disappointed today from the performance was better, but we've ended up losing the game again.
Dartford's penalty, a couple of people in the stand I've spoken to, I think we're standing next to one now, Neil, thought it was a penalty, but when we've watched it back, David Noble hasn't made a challenge, as if the guy's dragged his leg back to have a shot, and he's caught Noble, if anything.
And then he's gone and kicked the ground. But again, and Neil's probably the same as me. I couldn't see it because the linesman was in the way. It might have looked as if David has caught his leg. So when you look at it in slow motion like we have, you can clearly say he's gone back and David hasn't touched him. But then he's kicked David, and then obviously he's kicked the ground afterwards. So again, the decisions that are made on the spur of the moment, as you've said before, if we could have VAR, that probably wouldn't have been given a penalty. And then you've got to question whether Sam Merson's for the leaning in the back or the push in the back, whether that's a penalty, and they're the things you have to look at. But it's all about people's opinions, and my opinion will always be different to the referees on one or two of those occasions today.
VAR, Ian, I'm dead against it. As soon as they chuck it out of the game and relax this law on handball for penalties as well, I think it would help improve the game.
I think you should be in charge of VAR, David. That would make our decisions a lot easier. But no, you're right. I mean, the football's never been ruined in terms of decisions being made. I think on decisions on sort of offsides and things like that is dead right. I think the rest of it should be played by the referee and let him make the decisions he wants to make.
You went for one up front again today. We finished the game with three up front. Are you going to persist with one up front, do you think, for a while?
I think we've got to do what's right for the team. It makes us a lot stronger in midfield, and I don't think that was the reason why we didn't win the game today. We haven't defended well, and that's the reason why we've switched off for a free kick. It was a silly free kick given away by David DeHaju, but we didn't stand on the ball. We switched off. They've taken a quick free kick. And before we know where we are, Dean's palmed it straight back into the hand to the centre forward, who's put it in the back of the net. Dean has to do better. He has to push the ball away for a corner or away from goal. He's pushed it straight back where their strength is, and that's the disappointment. And then I didn't think, as I said it there, I didn't think we started the second half bright. I think we went out and felt we were going to go down the slope, and we were just going to go out and turn up and win the game. And before you know where we are, the decision's gone against us in terms of the penalty, and we're 2-1 down. After that, I thought we showed a lot of character. I thought there was a lot of good individual performances, and we could have quite easily got something out of the game, especially when Ash's one hitting the post very late on.
One massive positive was Harry Forster's performance, man of the match he was given. Played him through the middle, and that seemed to give him a lot more of the ball.
Yeah, well, we start him out wide, but we want him to join in, I suppose, and that's probably. But we've got to get the ball to him. If we don't get the ball to him, then he does become a bit of a passenger. But with the pitches drying out slightly, he travels really well with the ball, and you've seen today, he's very, very quick, and he causes them lots of problems. And as I said earlier, you question with the first run he's had where he's gone through three players, gone round the last man, who cynically brings him down, and it's easy for the referee to give a yellow card, but Harry's through on goal there. So again, these rules and regulations. But as I said, I felt the referee was quite comfortable to stand in the centre circle today and jog around, and I don't think that was the best performance I've seen from somebody who had to make some really big decisions today, and I don't think the big decisions went our way.
you've got the next 2 league games, certainly are the games that you've really got to pick up points. I mean, you're playing Braintree next Saturday, and then you've got Dulwich back here. Those are the games when, maybe as opposed to today, those are the games.
I think that from the factors where both teams are and where we are, so they are massive games in terms of seeing out the season. But for me, and I've just said it to the players, we've got to be looking to try and get everything from every game we've got left. We've got four games here that we've got to target to try and pick up maximum points, which is going to be difficult because our home form hasn't been great this year. Away from home, I feel we're quite comfortable. We've been better away from home, but we've got to start picking points up against teams in and around us, and that does start next week and the week after. But it's virtually like that now for the rest of the season. There's not many games against the top 8, but we've got to make sure that we're in and amongst it when we get into the last sort of 3 or 4 games. As I said before, it's going to get scary. It's going to be quite tough, and we need big characters. And somebody like Tom Bender today, who at half time was looking he might be coming off of a bad knee, it's just literally shown what he gives to this football club. He was outstanding, I felt, in the second half. His knee's sore, it's tender, didn't want to come off, wanted to fight for the cause, and we need 16, 18 people like Tom Bender for the rest of this season. We also need the crowd behind us. They need to get behind us, and they need to give this club everything it's got just to stay in this league, because it's going to be a tough 8 games. It's a tough 7 weeks. But if we keep making silly little mistakes like we've made again today, and I keep on about it, and I keep on about it, and I keep on about it, and I keep telling the players we can't use free kicks against us as rest periods, and I think that's what we're doing, and we have to make sure we're bright, we must make sure we're on the front foot, and we have to stop teams taking quick free kicks against us, and then we have to stop nullifying the mistakes, because I feel we've made 4 mistakes, or 3 mistakes probably in the last 2 games, and we've cost us 3 goals, and that's the difference. If you go to Havant and you go to places like Bath, we've not made mistakes, and we've ended up winning the game. Today and against Chippenham last week, we've made mistakes, and it's cost us.
Frankie Musonda back in the side today, Ian. Second loan spell. You must be delighted to have him back here.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, we've been staying in touch with Frankie, and I just think he thought he was going to try and obviously play a little bit higher, and I totally respect him for that. But then when we had a conversation last Sunday, I think he was ready then to go and play some more games, and I think he's done great. He's stepped in today. We defended well, as I say. Dean hasn't had a shot to save today, but we still conceded 2 goals, so that's the frustration. But if we were playing really poorly, I'd be quite worried. We've got some areas we need to work on. We've got some areas we need to really concentrate on in terms of the next 8 games. We've got to still keep playing with the same belief we've got, same energy, and we'll go and win games of football. But we've got to nullify these mistakes, and that's the thing that's worrying me a little bit. Is some of the mistakes we're making are too costly, and it's costing us goals. And other teams don't make the same mistakes we make.
At half time last week, we had Chippenham when we were 1-0 out. I think people said we were up to something like 14th in the table, and everything stopped then. At the end of that day, practically every result went against us. Quite a few have gone against us today, and we've got this coming Tuesday. We've got Herts Senior Cup. The importance of that, you don't want to play it down, but the way the league form is going, it's not our biggest game we've got coming up.
No, it's not, but it's still a game where people can show me that they want to play in the last 8 games of the season. It's a game where we can have something to play for at the end of the season once we stay up, because the players need that, and so we won't be taking it easy. We want to go there and win it. Plus winning breeds confidence, and we've got to go there and try and win the game and try and keep a clean sheet, but do it the right way and make sure that we don't keep making these silly mistakes and put people under pressure. There's players sitting on the bench today. James Kolotsky's come back now, so let's see what he wants to show me and the people on the bench, if they get the opportunity, what they can do going to Braintree next week and Dulwich here in 2 weeks' time. So, the pleasing thing for me is the 2 boys from Watford and Frankie Musonda have come in, and they're putting their lives on the lines in terms of the way they're tackling, the way they're playing, the way they're performing. But I need everybody to be in that same boat as them, pulling themselves through and fighting for this cause. I'm not saying no one's not doing that, but people have to stop making these mistakes, because mistakes are what's costing us, and we have to nullify that now. We have to concentrate not just for 45 minutes or 90 minutes, for 100 minutes. We have to concentrate. We have to concentrate in training, and we have to do everything correctly. And if we do that, we'll be fine. If we still keep making silly individual mistakes that cost us goals and put us on the back foot and drain people's confidence, then it's going to be a tough last 8 games.
You mentioned James Kolotsky's fit again. Any news from Stevenage on Jamie Fielding?
He's having an operation next Friday, so it looks like we've probably lost him for the rest of the season. So that's why we brought Frankie in this week.
What's the actual injury?
We don't know. I think there's a bit of floating bone in there, which is obviously causing a little bit of irritation in the knee. I think they're just going to go in with a scope and obviously take the floating bone out. But again, I would imagine that's probably going to be 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks of rehabilitation after he's had it done. So we're going to be sort of mid-October before he looks like going to be ready to play football again. So we'll have to see where we are on that side of it. But at the moment, I've counted him out for probably the next 6 weeks.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian, and we wish you well on Tuesdays. You look to move another step closer to winning the Herts Senior Cup for the 3rd time. So that's on Tuesday, Saints away to Kings Langley. Kick-off at Hempstead Road is at 7:45. That's on the 10th of March.